U.S. Financial News March 18th, 2025. Leading off, U.S. financial markets are grappling with the fallout from Trump's tariff policies. China's bank lending dropped sharply in February, a sign of economic slowdown exacerbated by the 10% tariffs imposed on March 4th, according to recent reports. This has triggered a $4 trillion market value loss, with investors on edge as retaliatory measures loom. The establishment touts these tariffs as job-saving, but the reality, higher costs for consumers and a shaky stock market, suggest a different story. Protectionism might be backfiring. Posts found on X echo this unease, with some calling it a trade war spiral. Adding to the tension, private credit firms, now valued at over $61 billion, are stepping up where banks hesitate, per Bloomberg. These lenders are fueling businesses, but critics warn of a bubble if a recession hits, especially with the Federal Reserve meeting this week. Scott Bessent's admission of no guarantees against a downturn adds fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, gold has surged past $3,000 an ounce, a historic safe haven rally as investors hedge against uncertainty, though high U.S. interest rates might cap its climb. On a practical note, CD rates remain a bright spot with some institutions, offering up to 4.50% APY for short terms per Financial Updates. It's a chance to lock in returns before rates dip further, and trending on X, there's buzz about inflation, with some linking it to quirky claims of government financial mismanagement. More on that later. The takeaway? Markets are a tightrope walk, and the official optimism might be masking deeper risks. U.S. political news. Shifting to politics, the U.S. government is a pressure cooker. House Republicans released a continuing resolution on March 8 to fund the government through September, signed by Trump on March 15th, per NPR. But Democrats are split. Some call it a blank check for Trump and Musk, raising concerns over unchecked power. The deadline to avoid a shutdown has passed, yet tensions persist, with 18 states, including D.C. and Maryland, filing a lawsuit to reinstate tens of thousands of federal employees fired since mid-February. The establishment frames this as a streamlined government, but critics argue it's a purge dressed up as efficiency. Elsewhere, Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport suspected Venezuelan gang members has hit a snag. A federal judge blocked the plan temporarily, per CBS News, citing its 18th century origins and questioning its modern application. This follows weekend deportations, sparking debate over legality and human rights. Meanwhile, Dr. Mehmet Oz's confirmation hearing for Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is set for today, per NPR, adding another layer to Trump's health policy overhaul. The narrative of a strong, unified administration? It's cracking under scrutiny, with political theater overshadowing substance. World news globally, the Middle East is heating up. An Israeli strike hit a residential building in Jabalia, Gaza today, March 18th, with Palestinians inspecting the devastation, per Reuters. This escalation follows U.S. airstrikes on Houthi rebels in Yemen, claimed yesterday, with 18 missiles targeting the USS Harry Truman, per recent reports. Trump vows overwhelming lethal force, but the cycle of retaliation risks broader conflict, something the establishment downplays as a necessary response. On the Ukraine front, Trump and Putin are slated to discuss a 30-day ceasefire. Today, with territorial concessions and control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant on the table, per Reuters, Putin warns Ukraine might regroup, a concern echoed by NATO allies debating enforcement. Meanwhile, India's eyeing a trade edge as U.S. tariffs hit China, hoping to lure manufacturers, per NPR, though its success hinges on avoiding U.S. backlash. Closer to home, the Butch and Suni astronauts are prepping for a Tuesday homecoming. After a 9-month ISS mission, per Reuters, delayed by Boeing Starliner issues, and in a lighter note, March Madness brackets dropped Sunday, per The Washington Post, giving sports fans a distraction amid the chaos. But the establishment's focus on routine events sidesteps the mounting global stakes. So what binds today's news? A clash between official narratives and harsh realities. The establishment pushes tariffs and deportations as wins, yet markets wobble, jobs data lags, and global tensions rise. Watch the Fed this week for a market lifeline, but don't expect miracles. Trending on X, Musk's magic money computers claim adds a wild card to inflation debates. Treat it as inconclusive, but it reflects public distrust. I'm David, and that's your today's rundown for March 18th, 2025. Stay sharp. More tomorrow.